Guys, this is super easy. Spot overseeding, couple simple steps. Not gonna take as long as you think. Let's get going. Hey team, it's Russ. Welcome to Lawn Journeys. Today, we're going to do a quick spot overseed. You may have burnt out spots that have gone dormant, maybe didn't get any water, didn't come back. You may have some disease spots, some of which I have, we'll be correcting today. It's super easy. You don't have to make a project out of it. You just need a couple tools, and there are some options. So let's get going. Okay guys, first thing you need to do is prepare the surface. Cut your lawn low and then do some dethatching. You've seen me use this Sunjoe before. It's a really popular piece of equipment. As you can see, there's tines on the bottom here. There's a Scarifier attachment. The Sunjoe is a great deal. I bought mine probably 3 years ago in the $140 range, if I recall. And I mean, this is my third or fourth season. It's well worth the money. What you're gonna do is you're gonna run this, you're gonna pull the thatch out, pull the dead grass out. You're gonna scar up that soil, make it receptive for the seed. Now, there are some options if you don't want to go out and buy a Sunjoe. Option one is the Groundskeeper II Rake. As you can see, this is very similar. It has these tines. This thing works great. You don't need a professional or semi-professional dethatcher. If you have small areas that you want to correct, go in there with this. I'm going to show you how it works. As you can see, it effectively pulls the thatch up, exposes the dirt for good seed to soil contact. Just, you gotta use a little elbow grease. That gets the job done. A second option for dethatching is just use your garden rake. You know, you guys can tell, it depends on your soil, depends on your grass. If you can get the job done with this or, you know, some other type of metal rake, go at it. But you need to prepare the surface. That's simple. Okay team, the second thing you're gonna need is some receptive soil. Depending on what your turf looks like, if it's clay, if it's burnt out, it's hard, you may need to supplement some lawn soil. I particularly like the Turf Builder Lawn Soil by Scotts because it's a kind of a mix of a like a peat with soil, and it also has some starter fertilizer in it. I've had great success. You guys have seen me use this before. In fact, if you watch this video to the end, I'm going to link to my big lawn renovation video where I use this in a multi-step process. So you guys can catch that at the end if you don't want to stick around. But in any case, you're going to have some lawn soil. I find that the success rate is much better, and I'm going to show you how I use it. The third piece of the puzzle we're going to need is seed. This is very particular to what you're trying to do. You may be a straight Kentucky bluegrass. You may be a Northeast mixed lawn where you have fescue, rye, and bluegrass. So go out, get your favorite seed. The fourth piece of the puzzle, sphagnum peat moss. I find that my seed success is much better with the peat moss. It's phenomenal in holding the moisture in the dirt, in the ground with the seed. Without this, your seed dries out. It may germinate, but you won't have the success on a scale that I've seen using the peat moss. There's different ways of spreading this, such as the Landsey. Actually, that's a local gentleman that lives in the South Jersey area. He markets that. I'll put a link to it below. I used to spread this by hand, but if I was going to do a full seed on dirt, I would definitely invest in a spreader. You'll save yourself a lot of time and get much better coverage. So this morning I went to one of my local big box stores. I got my Scotts Turf Builder soil. I got my sphagnum peat moss. I'll be using my Sunjoe dethatcher today. I already had my seed in stock. Let's go. Okay guys, so as you can see, ran over it with the Sunjoe. Pulls all that dead grass thatch out, gets it down pretty close to the surface, prepares it for good seed to soil contact. Okay team, step one we completed. We thatched and scarified the ground. I do have a Scarifier attachment for that. I'm not using it today. I can see I've put some swirls in the ground just with the thatcher, so I'm good to go. I like to apply some seed first before I do my lawn soil, okay? Because I want it really in close contact with the base soil. So I will do a light seeding, okay? Read the instructions on your bag for overseeding, whatever seed that you get. The third step will be to apply some lawn soil, okay? Sometimes if I still have some seed, I'll put a little more light seed over that. And then of course the last step will be the peat moss. It should be known, more is not always better with seed, okay? Seed needs space to germinate and mature. If you have too many seedlings, they'll compete with each other and some of them will die. So you're wasting seed and you are potentially creating another problem by having dead grass in the lawn. So in the video that you'll see at the end when I do my full overseed, normally I will use my spreader and I will set it at the recommended overseed setting. Today, because I'm just doing some spot seeding, I'm going to be using this Scott's hand spreader. I will either be turning it, pulling the trigger and pulling the seed, as you guys can see, or for the areas that are a little bit more bare, you may see me throwing some down on the ground. So let's get this going. All right, team, adding a little lawn soil. It's just a little parched out here. Like I said, I feel like this gives me better results, especially if your soil sucks, stinks. I just spread it around. I dump some bags. Then I smooth it out with a rake. Doesn't look like much, but there's actually 8 bags of lawn soil down here. A lot of this I think is just heat damage, even though it's heavily watered. I do think I had brown spot though, and if you check out my fungus videos, I treated this starting mid-July at the preventive rate. I think next year I'm gonna hit it with a curative rate application, probably late June, and see if I can avoid this, because it was definitely patches. It showed up in different spots. In any case, I have my lawn soil down. I'm gonna do another overseed here, and then we're gonna put the magic down. Okay, team, this is the magic sauce. Sphagnum peat moss. It's gonna protect your seed from the birds. It's gonna keep it moist, and it's gonna give you a better result. It's a dirty process. Let's see what I look like now, and let's see what I look like when I'm done. But I really feel if you're not gonna do the topsoil and you can get good soil to seed contact, don't skip out on the sphagnum peat moss. It makes a big difference. So let's get it on. So like I said, unless you have a Landsy or some kind of spreader, I find bare-handed application works well, but you get rather dirty. So the last thing we're going to talk about is irrigation of any overseed project or any seeding project for that matter. But if you don't do the proper groundwork here to retain the moisture in the soil during the day in between waterings, it's going to dry up and you're going to waste your time. Okay, team, so the 5th and final step is irrigation. It's very important to keep your overseed project, be it a full overseed or spot overseed, properly irrigated. You do not want to flood the seed by any means. What I recommend is 3 short waterings per day. The objective is to keep the soil seed mixture moist, but not soaked. This is why the peat moss is so important. It's very good at retaining moisture in the soil. My irrigation schedule for any overseed or spot overseed is to water 3 times per day. Generally, I go 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and approximately 4 p.m. For my system, I'll water those particular areas for 4 minutes. It's enough to moisten the soil again, not flood it. If there is dry weather, I may do a longer watering during the week, because I do like to get 1.5 inches down per week anyway for the rest of my lawn. Just be cognizant of oversaturating or flooding seeded areas. You don't want it ponding. All right, team, so that's a wrap. It's a very simple process. You can go out there and repair damage to your lawn in a matter of hours. You can do a full overseed if need be. Get out there, get it done.
And if you are interested in seeing my full overseed video, you can link to it here. And I will see you guys next time on Lawn Journeys.